Welcome, Taurus. This is your weekly focus for June the 11th through to the 17th, 2018. My name is Tilly, and this is Tarot with Tilly, and thank you. Thank you truly for all of the positive, loving, supportive energy you send my way each and every day. Now let's turn to the energy of the cards and see what they reveal about how to use the energy in a positive light in order to go forward on our path. We start with the Page of Wands. The Page of Wands, we know we've got it inside of us. We know that we have gone through the trials, the tribulations, the chaos, the sorrow, the learning experiences. We know. Maybe it was through education, but we know we have what it takes. And even though we have what it takes and we know we have what it takes, we haven't really put it to the test. And so we might have a little bit of fear, a little bit of worry, a little bit of concern about actually stepping out on a path, yelling it from the mountaintops of where you are going, what you are creating, the vision of your tomorrow, the vision of you tomorrow. And with the Page energy, it's a young energy. We're excited, we're happy, we are feeling strong, we're feeling alive. So don't let that ego take over and go, well, we've never actually tried it, so we should back off. Maybe we need to learn a little bit more. Maybe we need to go through a few more experiences before we're really ready. That's what your ego will tell you. Your ego will tell you that to keep you safe, to keep you grounded. But with the Page of Energy, expect the new experiences. Look forward. Embrace the new experiences that come your way. And we are moving into a new moon energy on Wednesday. So expect new experiences, new people in your life. You know, this could include a new place to live or travel to. King of Swords, the commitment we need to make to ourselves. It's very strong here. So when the new moon comes around on Wednesday for you, you know, you have to look at the seeds that you want to plant, the abundance that you want in your life, and yes, the material wealth as well. What you value, what takes away energy, and what you have to move away from. Because as we lead into the new moon energy and we want to plant those seeds, we don't want to take the old baggage with us. The things that weigh us down, the things that don't allow us to move forward. And this is stepping up to the plate and saying, I'm going to do this. Oh, and the Empress shows up. Talk about strong energy here. Page of Wands, King of Swords, and then the Empress shows up to talk about that new path that you are going to birth. Now remember that the new moon is happening on the 13th, and everybody looks at the 13th like, ugh, ugly energy. But that's because we look at the death card in numerology, the number 13, or, pardon me, we look at just, you know, the unlucky 13 energy. We think, ugh, we don't want that kind of energy. And that is the death card. And the death card, or the 13 energy, allows us that new beginning, that rebirth, that new birth. So when you look at, you know, if you're unemployed and you get a job, well, the death of unemployment in your life, of poverty in your life, for the birth of a career, a job, money coming in. So look towards any completions in your life as a sign of new growth right around the corner, new paths to take. The Empress is usually displayed as one that is pregnant, that is sitting very comfortable in her surroundings. It's usually nature. She's sitting by a field. There's usually water. There's usually the forest in the background, speaking to the abundance, so long as we go with the flow. It is a bunny rabbit down at her feet. So many of these cards in this deck have, a few of them have dogs, many of them have cats, but we have a bunny rabbit, the sign of fertility, the sign of new growth, the sign that the seeds that you plant will take hold, will mature into great abundance for you if you allow it, if you trust in yourself, if you go with the flow, if you dream the dream. For work and career, we have the Two of Swords with the Justice card. Well, the Two of Swords is about making decisions, and these decisions have to come from within, not outward. We are blindfolded here. Okay, it's not so much of what we can see. And, we do have next Monday, Neptune will be going retrograde. And Neptune spends a lot of time in retrograde. And it is in order for us to see clearer. It brings in clarity. It brings in, and every time I talk about this, I see this wall of this clouded ice in front of you that you melt away through your passion, through your fire, through your energy, through your desire. And you start to see where certain paths or certain parts of your path have actually hindered you, or they become redundant, or we weren't looking at the true reality of the situation. And we only saw what we wanted to see and hear what we wanted to hear, rather than the complete picture. And when we look within, we already have the knowledge, we already have the wisdom to see through it, to make those decisions that matter. Now, it is with justice. So once again, we have the balance, the scales in one hand, the balance that we want to bring in, and we're holding it at half mast with our other hand holding that sword to make those firm commitments, to make those strong judgment calls, to cut away what is no longer useful or actually works against us in our life. And it's going to take courage, but it brings in great growth, and it brings in great spirituality. So pay attention to your intuition. We have, is it Venus with Uranus this week? And that's a heightened psychic awareness. New things that you see or you tap into. So go within. Sit there. Close your eyes. In that landscape. We're here in the landscape. We're here in the landscape. We're here in the landscape. So it's telling you to get outdoors, to get grounded, to go out and find that place of solitude and just sit and go within. And tap into your intuition and your sage wisdom and make some decisions about where you want to go, of who you want to become. Now, I often call those cards work and career, but it is what defines you as a person. And some of you might not care about work and career. And so, look at it as the definition of who you are. If I were to meet you, how would you describe yourself? Is it work, career? Is it what you do in the community? Is it what you do for your family? Is it your family? Is it your health and well-being? Is it your spirituality? What defines you as a person? What would you tell me about yourself? And you're making some strong new commitments to some paths to go forward in that are not going to be anything like the path before. Love is the sun and the high priestess. Wow, what strong energy this week for us. This is really grounding yourself in who you are in the relationship, the knowledge you have about relationships, about how to treat somebody, about how you wanted to be treated. You are taking it to the next level. You are redefining love in some way. Maybe you are making a stronger commitment. Maybe you are honoring yourself more within relationships. You're tapping into your sage wisdom here to bring magic to the relationship, to take it to the next level. And this isn't always, your soulmate or your lover. This could be a child. This could be a parent. This could be your best friend. And yes, growing that relationship, growing that commitment, growing that love. Maybe you are, taking it to the next step. There's a maturity here, but also a new beginning that is sparked within relationships with you. And it's asking you to really go within and understand the amount of love you want to receive, respect you want to receive, and the amount of support you want to receive, and what you give in return in that relationship. And is it too much? Are you going to the extreme? Do you need to pull it back? Do you need to step up to the plate and give more? Our spirituality this week is the Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords is wiping, we need to wipe away our self doubt. Maybe that's revisiting the past. Maybe it's looking over certain things, but you need to say, I forgive you to yourself. And so maybe look in the mirror and look into your eyes and say, I forgive you. I love you and I forgive you. Because so often when we look back, we see our failures. I mean, they're like red flags, but we don't see the other person's failures. Because the minute we see their failure, we blame ourselves for not seeing that failure earlier because we see the warning signs, or the situation that you were in, the job that was seemingly going everywhere, but it ended up going nowhere. And it brings in self-doubt, and we second guess ourselves. And so the best way of overcoming this is, once again, going out into nature, finding that place of solitude, going within, understanding that you did what you did because you needed to do that. Because at that time, that was the best option. And looking backwards, we might see different options, but that was only the growth of your knowledge that came in after the fact. That wasn't really a viable plan. There were reasons why you couldn't go that way. So watch the self-sabotage within your spirituality. It really, last week was for everybody to really pay attention to the self-doubt that they were inflicting upon themselves and their path. But for you, it's the here and now of, and we were just highlighted with the ding, right? Whenever you're getting a reading, or whether it's astrology, runes, tarot, numerology, I can go on your tea leaves, but whenever it's interrupted by a noise or a loud bang or a bell going off, or pay close attention. That is your angels, that's your spirit guides highlighting those words for you to take home with you. So pay attention to where you are putting self-doubt into your life. And you could say, well, it's because I procrastinate all the time. That's why that happened in my life, because I procrastinate. No, stop. It used to be that in those situations you procrastinated. But the new you will go forward based on sound information, good thought process, and making the decision. That there is no more procrastination in your life. No more second guessing yourself in your life. Maybe it's the love of yourself. Maybe it's the love of another. Maybe it's taking a chance on yourself. Wherever you say something negative about yourself, I'm so clumsy. No, I used to be clumsy, but now I've got perfect balance. No one loves me. Well, nobody loved me, but now I'm giving them every reason to love me going forward, because I'm beautiful and I'm worthy. Health and well-being, we have the Hermit. Go within. Look at your daily routine. Look at your foundation. Look at your lifestyle. Now, what do you really want to be your lifestyle out of that picture, and what do you want to discard? What do you want to remove? Now, what do you want to add? Now's the time to make the plan. The hermit goes into the desert, into the cave, and looks at the situation. Here it is our health, our well-being. And so I'm asking you to look at the whole picture because we can't forget in this day and age about stress. And so when we invite stress or party with stress, give it more attention than it deserves, it builds in our life. And so we have to manage that. We have to realize when we are doing that, sometimes the problem is better left undiagnosed. Just let it go away. Let it fade into the background. Don't give it the attention. Don't give it to the energy that it's, think of the negative energy right now like a 2-year-old child throwing a temper tantrum in the middle of the supermarket. And the more you try to appease that child, the more they're going to scream because they're getting attention. I had a dog once, Valentine. And Valentine, oh my goodness, he knew how to push my buttons. He was so good. And so when he wanted to go out, and I was finishing up something, and I said, okay, in a minute, we'll go out. You just wait. He would be like, no, now. I want to go out now. And so he would do things to me. The one time, what he did was he started scratching like he was going to create a hole in the floor. And he was a big dog, so he had big nails. And I'm just like, no, stop. What are you doing, right? And then I thought, wait a minute. That's a laminated floor. It's supposed to be scratch-free. I looked at him. I stopped, and I said, go ahead. Knock yourself out. I'm going to finish what I'm doing first. And he stopped. He never did it again. Another time, he wanted to go out, and I went the other way completely on him. But I was getting my coat and stuff, and he knew he couldn't go into the garbage and move the garbage around. But what he did was he emptied the garbage and brought the bag up to me and started ripping the bag up in front of me instead of ripping the garbage up in front of me. So, he was a handful. He was my baby too. So take from those stories, sometimes when we ignore the situation or we try to change it our ways and we don't want the dog to rip apart the garbage, the energy will still come through. And so, we finally got our signals straight on what was appropriate and what was not appropriate, me and my dog Valentine. And he would, when I said wait, he'd patiently wait. And if it was more than 2 or 3 minutes, he would remind me very quickly that he had waited. So until we meet again, maybe that has something to do in your life. Maybe you see where you are overreacting to something that doesn't really need the overreaction. Like your dog trying to dig a hole through your kitchen floor. Maybe ignoring it is the best solution. And some things we can't ignore. I know that in life, but there are things we can ignore. And to look within and understand where we need to put our focus and where we need to put our attention can alleviate a ton of stress that isn't welcome and wasn't necessary in the first place. Until we meet again, remember, I do love you.